We just went live on YouTube channel 2, the ET Whisperer channel 2, and Twitch. I'm sorry, I thought we were going live on that earlier, guys. But
or you want to do Facebook too?
Well, with the program we've got, we only have 3 choices.
Gotcha.
So I chose Twitch today in the second.
Well, hi to anyone on the second channel.
Yeah, welcome, guys. We're here talking about 2022, what's coming. You guys got to sit in our sneak peek of the Patreon. Our lovely people at Patreon decided to let us share this in a collective sense for the greater collective. So that's what we're doing. And we're talking about 2022. We're talking about what we've gone through the last couple of years. We're talking about the shift of consciousness, but we're also talking about the larger cycle of energy that leads into 2022. So I guess this is kind of a good segue, even though I said just go back and listen to the other video to get the deeper reason. Let's talk about what Trev and Arnif have been talking about since 2010, since I first met Trev. Trev says the cycle of 2012, because I asked him, what is all this 2012 hype about? Why is everybody else jacked up about this? He said accelerated consciousness to help manifest more energy, to help open the energy, to help shift from a third density, fourth density perspective. After bumping into law of one material, there's a lot of things there I saw. Asked Trev and Trev about that, and Artif expanded at a later time. And I said, so what is this about? And he said, this is that jump that we're talking about. And I said, well, this is pretty black and white over here, talking about harvesting and people getting left behind and all this stuff. So Trev had a very different perspective. And a lot of that you can go back and listen to. When you're talking about the early stuff like 2011, 2012, 2013, was the Density Masterclass 101, Densities and Dimensions and Incarnation Cycles, the Density Masterclass 101 Part 2. These were highly technical, highly about this. Actually, one of the best videos that we've had as far as viewers go was called The Event, Ascension in a Flash, Fifth Density. Consciousness and what it's all about. And then Trev and Artif went through and talked about all the things that people misunderstood about that, how all of the energy there was more about a shifting consciousness. Yes, the dimensionality shifts, the third and fourth density consciousness shifts, the energy behind that consciousness definitely shifts, but it's not a black and white, all or nothing. This happens to this good group of people, and this happens to the bad group of people who haven't learned their damn lesson. It wasn't nothing like that. It was an individual journey for people to connect and to connect with all the consciousness and stuff. I just read that, Aaron. That's amazing. You know, it's been a long time since I've actually watched that Metatron channeling on the interview with Ed. It's on YouTube too. I got it on my playlist to one of my playlists on the front YouTube channel. But yeah, so we've got a lot of that energy coming, and what Trev said is that 9 years before 2012, there's a cycle leading up to the precipice of energy, and 9 years after 2012 would be the last of the third density accelerated consciousness, helping as many people shift into the higher perspectives as possible. And then a lot of people started worrying and concerned, like, oh my God, we're going to run out of ascension energy next year. You know, it's 2 years from now, 5 years from now. Holy shit. What are we going to do? How are we going to spiritually evolve? Don't worry. That's not where everything ends. It's just where the third density accelerated energy. Now we're starting. It doesn't sound very fantastic or very exciting, but we're starting with a very infantile version of fourth density consciousness. Mm-hmm. And that's going to be the new normal. And that is effective as of the time we're going to be with you on the 21st.
When you say we're going through birthing pangs right now, essentially, that's,
the real birth.
And kind of like, you know, giving birth in the sense of the pain of giving birth to the new from the old. So you're the, not necessarily old, but that parent energy, the old way giving way to the new way, but they're both us here now.
That's beautifully put, sweetie. I think it's great. Honestly, that's it. The new fourth density being that people have talked about forever and ever, we've already been there. We actually started back in 2003, kind of made the final adjustment in 2012, and we're getting ready to be done with the integration of the newest part of our cycle on December 21st of this year. And I've been waiting for this year for a long time because I knew Art of Treb have said publicly back since 2011, maybe 2010, the end of 2010, all the way through up until recent years, that this energy specifically for this time of year is going to be phenomenal. Not phenomenal as in special or great or grand, but special as in this will show you that you're ready for the next part of your experience, that you're ready for the next stage of personal human evolution. And I already feel like that's right there. I already feel like that's what we're with right now. I feel like that's what's been around us this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why we're all doing the same shit that we've been doing for 2 years. And the same reason all of us have gone out of our minds or watched others go out of their minds. I truly know handfuls of people who haven't really been affected by what's been going on for the last couple of years, even all the way up into this point where things are at its feeling of being the most extreme. And yet they're still watching others around them going off the handle,
Mm-hmm.
going crazy, having their lives ripped apart, having shit blow up in their face.
It hurts.
Whatever it is, yeah.
It's painful. Yeah.
It is, absolutely.
But yeah, there's a beauty. There's a beauty in it too.
So what do you think? You've been around Trev and Art more than any human, even people like Vashta or Savita, who were exposed to Trev and Art's information before you. You personally have been around their energy longer than any other human.
Mm-hmm.
What do you feel like they have tried to say that most humans don't understand when it comes to this type of energy, about ascension, about fourth density, about 2012 and 2022 and or 2021 and 2003 and the whole cycle?
Well, I think there's so many things that they get into, but one of them is actually believing that the power really is within us. We're not the helpless victims we make ourselves out to be, nor do we have to agree with our perceived oppressors that we're the victims. Even if they're holding us down, they can't take our soul. They can't take our soul. They can't take away the various challenges that help lead us to greater states of enlightenment. They're just challenges, and some of them are very real and they get very, very raw. But no matter what the cards, as we see it, deal with us, we also create. This isn't like a black or white situation. It's not just what cards are dealt with us. It's having the excitement to create new cards and throw out the ones that no longer serve us. We don't have to actually play by the rules that are given. Does that make sense? I'm not saying be a crazy rebel and tear down everything, but I'm just saying, like, in what they've said is to be your true self and to find out what those excitements are. And I know sometimes people get a little confused about what an excitement really is. It's not simply some mere addiction or some severe attachment, but it's this something that drives your soul is driving you. Everything, every ember of your body knows, every part of you knows that you're meant to be doing something. And even if you're not sure what that is, you get this impulse and then the divine just leads you there. When Rob was, before Trev connected to him, he was trying to learn how to channel the dead. He was trying to connect with people who had passed on. He didn't expect to meet this giant lizard man who had all this great wisdom. So I think the excitement leads you to something even greater than you could maybe even fathom. So I think also letting go of those expectations. People, when they're trying to create, they want to create their own reality, and they get so disappointed because you might be getting a real smackdown, but it turns out it's just you're taking a sharp corner to get where you need to be eventually. And it might seem, terrible, but it just, no matter what is going on, just holding it, because yes, we may die in this body, we may get it in the next life, whatever. We don't die in the soul, but constantly leading to that excitement. I think that's really important, finding that, living in your truth and living in the moment. I get it. It's easier said than done. And I think that's a large part of what Trev and Ardif mean when they're talking about living in your excitement. It's not what distracts you. It's not what keeps you from getting bored. It's the true drive of the heart and the soul. That thing you've been wanting to do, but you're scared to do, but you wake up whenever you frown because you didn't do that thing, whatever that thing is. Do it, guys, because you don't need the fear of COVID or whatever that, for you to die. You don't need the fear of death. I think for me, it's become the fear of not living my life.
It has for a lot of people. A lot of people have different things. And I normally don't like talking about current events, politics, things like that, because, a lot of people perceive it as low vibrational things, and it can be, of course. It can also be a tool to watch the reflection with. But we see things like what we've been watching, arguments between people in how to deal with what we've been going through. People on one side say we have to protect ourselves, we have to lock things down, we have to make laws, regulations, and do this. And then there's another group who's like, hey, just take care of the people who are most likely to die from it and let the rest just live their lives. So there's two different energies there, but it's not the only energies that are different. I don't know if people keep up with the more recent events, but there's talk about the Roe versus Wade case about abortion being handled by the Supreme Court in the United States, and that with the people who are on the panel, that it might be reversed. So all of a sudden, half the states in the country might just say overnight abortion's illegal. And what the hell will people do with them? Because we have people who truly and really believe like abortion is this evil, horrible, soul-destroying thing. And we have other people who truly believe it's the right of the female woman body to hold it. So we've got all these divisive topics that keep coming to the surface over and over and over again. You look into the culture war that's happening between people in the United States. You have people fighting left over from Brexit in the UK. You've got people in South Africa, people who are black and who are white fighting over race. You have some of that in the US. You have these small groups of the culture war, of the most extreme versions of the left and the right fighting it out in the streets. You've got all these different things happening. And what it shows to most people when I hear them talk about it is this is what's right and you stand up for what's right, or this is what's wrong and you need to stand against what's wrong. But what I see is that these issues in the collective are the exact reflections of the duality inside of us. They are the exact reflection of everything inside our own consciousness that we don't know where to stand on. Everything that we fought about internally. And I'm not talking about just abortion, or I'm not talking just about the virus or how to do. I'm talking about the
whatever
legitimate
trigger word you want
things.
to put in, essentially.
It can be that too, but the basic energy behind what those mean.
Mm-hmm.
What the virus means is health. It means life or death. Like Kalina was saying, the fear of dying, the fear of not living. Both of these things put in your face, and every human argues with that inside of themselves. Well, if I'm not cautious, I could die, but if I'm too cautious,
I won't
live.
Mm-hmm.
Abortion, the right to give and take life. We fought wars under the name of gods, and we've taken life for that God, and we've given life. And in countries, it's still illegal to have more than one child. I mean, these are real collective issues that are happening in front of us, and they come in as low vibration, shitty things for people who are extremists to fight about. But what really is happening is that part of us all that anchors to those great themes of life that have been there since the dawn of human and that continue to pop up over and over again. It is time to deal with all of it.
Yep.
And this is why, and exactly how we solve it when it comes to our face, and we have to deal with it.
You know what I just thought of? It's kind of like an old couple who, no, they don't have to be old, but old by I mean they've been married for a while, and they get kind of complacent and they don't talk for a long time, and then finally one day they get into an argument. But suddenly that argument isn't that one thing. It's every damn thing that happened before that, and they find themselves in this crazy chaos. And what happens at the end of that fight, or maybe a few more, not like punch fights, but like an argument, is either they get everything out and they can have a great healing, a catharsis, and come together more deeply, or they divide, they part, whatever is the right thing for them. And that just kind of came to me. That's kind of what, right now. So we're like arguing all these things that most of us were being so polite not to talk about. We were afraid. We were, pussyfooting around the whole issue, whatever.
Told kids not to talk about it.
When I was a little kid, I asked my parents who they voted for, and I didn't know that it was against the culture to ask. They're like, "How dare you ask me? You're never asking anyone." No, I'm not telling you. I'm like, what was it, like 8, 9? I didn't know. So I had no clue that was considered rude. Now it's like, you got to post it on Facebook or, whatever. So I'm like, oh my God, times have changed. But the things that can divide us can also bring us together. We have to have, these arguments, especially when we're talking about, forget one world government. To me, it's like just one world. We literally can connect over the internet, various cultures, races, religions, atheists, science, whatever you want to call it. We can all be here, and at some point it'll go from arguing to really talking and understanding and inspiring each other. Why do you think the way you do? Why do you feel the way you do? And then it can become fascinating, kind of like, listening to different podcasts, like a connoisseur of all kinds of different ways of thinking.
That's where I think it's headed without. The problem is the censorship part of that is also another collective reflection of not wanting us to look in ourselves with that.
That's made the desire greater, though. It's backfired on those that censor. I'm like, ooh, they shouldn't have done that. This just made it. See, I think of things metaphorically too. Like
absolutely,
with when they want to try to create more rules and more censorship, how's that internally? Where have I not made discipline rules for myself, as in not like smacking myself down, but where have I censored myself?
Yes.
Where have I not allowed there to be boundaries for myself? Where have I let others cross the line on me, and I have not given my own rules for the way I want to live because I had to be polite, or I was afraid of being divisive, or I was afraid of losing my friend? Well, guess what? There's this thing that's causing the censorship, causing division. Every one of us here, and who here has not lost a single friend?
Right.
Rob and I have cried. We've lost people who just totally didn't understand us, where we were coming from. And
gotten into fights with family members who we thought would have the same outcome as well, you know?
And again, not fist fights. When we say fights,
Arguments. Yeah. My fist fight days are long, long gone.
Yeah, he used to be a wild one, guys.
Yeah, I think most people who've listened to me long enough know that I had that. That side was definitely a pretty big part of my life. But yeah, it's sad to see friendships. You know, and that's a whole weird thing itself.
New friends
and I'm not going to go. Yeah, of course.
And some of them will come back eventually.
Sure, but they're doing their own shit too, right? They're doing their own shit too that they've got to work through.
You find out who your friends really are, though, and that's a blessing.
That is,
it can be a smack in the face, but don't you want to be in true company of friends?
That's absolutely the fact. And I think when it comes down to it, everybody, you know, this year is, for me, and from everything I've heard Trev and Art talk about, this year is supposed to be the recognition of time to rebuild. The time where everybody looks and says, listen, the systems of medical, the systems of school, the systems of government, the systems of banking, all of these things have done horrible disservices to us all. They've divided us. They've created strife. They've created extremism. They created violence with extremism. And they've created the most divisive forms of separation between populations that should be working with each other, caring for each other, loving each other, working for one another. And the reason that this really comes because I think now almost everyone I've talked to who understands science in a basis that is not anchored to news, but when they look through journals, when they read through scientific studies, when they look at the science in the way that science is supposed to be done, not Fox or CNN types news, people are on a consensus that there is a very good chance with the last version of coronavirus that this thing is fizzling out, and that it won't be long until it's just like the common flu, the common cold. You know, people might not have heard me explain the story, but I was the ground zero in my part of Michigan. My son and my son's mother were the first people that I knew who got the swine flu back in 2008. That was the first time it hit U.S. soil, the most extreme version of it, and the most horrifying experience of my life. And I suffered for 2 weeks, hallucinations. There was no infrastructure. There isn't things like there is now where you can go and get help quickly in emergency, you know, like they've set up with all hospital systems now. It was bad. And when I had it, the next year was pretty bad. And the year after that, a little less. And then hardly at all. I mean, it was there, but it did not, it affected you just like the normal flu did. And that's called going endemic. And when it goes endemic, it just becomes a natural, yearly, not harmful. Yes, it will be harmful to those groups, just like every flu has been every year. But most people I've seen have agreed that this is probably where it's going to. So this virus, just like everything else, is coming in and out of our lives to show everybody what it needs to show them and be on its merry way. And I'm not trying to make little of it. I understand there's still, you know, my son's one of these people who, if they get it, you know, he's got a 50% chance of having repercussions that are larger because of his health conditions. So I'm not making small of it, but what I'm saying, it's not going to be the focal point of reason to dismiss your greatest family and friends. It's not going to be the reason to cancel Thanksgiving because no one can get along. It's not going to be the reason for a lot of the stupid shit that we've been dealing with when it comes to politicians and news and family and friends. Now we have to start putting it back on our own shoulders. Now we have to say we can't blame our behaviors, their behaviors, our collective behaviors on a virus. We have to blame it on ourselves now. We have to figure out where we stand as a society, where we stand as an individual, where we stand as friends and family, and we have to do this. And there's no more playing around. There's no more games because those have already got worn out.
It really is more of a global society than ever, too.
Yeah.
I know there's been like the whole one world government plan, at least I believe that. But again, it goes back to one world. Have you ever thought so much or had so much compassion in your heart than these times for our brothers and sisters and anything else you might identify with in other countries?
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, Rob and I have always had love for others, but like, we'll sit and watch stuff going on in South Africa or Australia or New Zealand or wherever. And we feel for them, and we're there with them. And I see people all around the world being there for each other as if we're in the same room,
Oh, absolutely.
And it's amazing because a lot of us will be in the same chat room, or we'll be in the same where people are gaming together, and not just different places, but people of all ages. It's amazing. We have an amazing opportunity to come together as a collective.
Yeah, sorry guys, I think we got a couple bots in the chat room.
Do we?
I'm not sure. They've got dots and just 3 letters. So
Can
we're
you
gonna
go to the YouTube? Let me see if I can erase it through the studio.
no, I'll
Oh.
get it on the Patreon. Okay. So yeah, just ignore those links, guys.
Sorry, I didn't mean to
if
put
you're
that out
here
there.
to actually talk, then by all means say something. But if not, we're gonna have to put you in some timeouts for a little bit here. Either way, that's all good. So we're gonna get to it, guys. Our Patreon people have
There's something with
I've got
Bethany
it.
too.
Yep, I've got
gotcha.
it. Yeah. So we're gonna be jumping into the channeling in a minute, guys. Thank you guys, all of you, for Patreon who really connected to wanting to share this publicly with everyone. I really appreciate it. I believe that they all will appreciate it too. I really feel like this was an important conversation to have, and I know whatever Artif or Trem say will also be important, as it always is. So thank you guys for doing that. But thank you all for being here with us too. We love you, William. Thank you, brother, for holding our hands for the last couple of years and getting us through, helping take care of our family. And like I said, for those of you at Patreon who love William, you haven't seen the last of him. He's still a patron. He'll still come and help us whenever we need help, as long as he's able to. And he's going to be starting his show back up soon, too. He just did a video for the first time in multiple months on Fincastle 2. Fincastle Underground. Yeah, Fincastle Underground 2. So if you guys want to go check that out, do. I'll be a guest on his show eventually, as he will be mine, because me and Kalina do plan to start the Enlightenment Evolution Network back up this year. And when we do, we're going to have our own shows, and we're going to have guests on our shows. And I'm going to invite William on to talk as a guest on mine, probably the first or one of the first guests that I have come on, because he's a great friend who's helped us out just so much, and we love him so much too. We appreciate you, brother. Thank you. I'm going to let you take everybody out for the next 10 minutes. I'm going to neutralize. You can hang out, talk to everybody, or you can, play a clip for them if you want. We could start a clip. I mean, I could pull up a clip. Some.
Well, I will, when you come back, take a small bathroom break. But I kind of have an idea.
Okay.
Waiting for a second.
All right, guys. Kalina's got a big brain moment coming on. So we're going to see what she's got up her sleeve. Oh. Interesting, she says. She will entertain you guys, I'm sure.
Well, I was reading in...
If you want to go use the restroom now, Mom, too, you can. And I can chat with everybody. Go ahead, and then when you get back, you guys can hang out with everybody.
I shall be right
So Kalina will be back in a minute, guys, and we'll just hang out for a few minutes. Hello, everybody who just popped in. Hello. It's nice to see everybody popping in. Thank you guys for showing up. It's really nice to see you guys. I really, really am excited to hear what Trev and Ardif have to say. I really think it'll be a great energy of connection and co-creation with everybody. Yeah, I'm just reading through some of the messages, guys. All right. Perfect, guys. Yeah, so the 2022 is the topic that won. On the 5th of the month, we take our post and we post the link to our Q&A form, which is the same thing as the open forum, but it's just for Patreon members at the end of each month. And we put that up and everybody sends in their questions, but we also give everyone an opportunity to give one topic of their choice of what they want to hear Trevor Ardif talk about in depth. So we take every single suggestion and put it in one gigantic poll for everyone to vote on. And after everyone votes, the winning subject gets channeled on. That's the one that goes up. Ardif talks about it in depth. And then, after the channeling is done, Kalina this time will ask some questions after Ardif or Trev share what they want to share about the things that they talked about in that time, and then we'll call it a day. And then on the 30th, we go back and do the Q&A, which is like the open forum for Patreon members. Random choosing of questions that aren't disqualified for the types of questions that we allow, and then we go from there. So this is something that you guys normally don't get to see, but our Patreon people asked us to share it publicly. We thought it might be a good idea. We asked them how they felt, and they all loved the idea. So thank you guys from Patreon. We really love you guys. We really appreciate it. Colleen will be back in just a minute, guys, and then I'm going to start neutralizing. It's almost midnight here, which puts us way, way, way past what we thought we were going to do tonight, but we've just enjoyed hanging out with you guys and talking, seeing what you're up to, seeing how you're feeling, and all of that. So it's really nice to see you. And don't worry, Tina, you might be a tiny bit late, but we're running so far behind that you're just on time for the channeling. I'm going to be neutralizing soon, guys. So that's definitely something that we'll be going to in a minute. No worries there. Yeah, it's really a wonderful energy, guys. And I'm sorry I'm not being more talkative. I'm already trying to get myself as neutral as I can as I'm still talking, so that by the time I channel, we can get right into it and get going with a good, strong connection and get moving. It's something that we're going to be doing again. We're going to be doing it on the 21st with the open forum. We're going to be taking everybody's questions and doing it at that point, and kind of see how everything goes too. So I really think it'll be great to have a hangout session and to have a chat and do all that good stuff. So yeah, and I'm just checking out my Twitch channel. I've never been on my own Twitch before, so that's really great.
Do you want to make some more coffee too?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to, you can.
Ardif drink coffee.
No, it's almost midnight though. It'll be keep me up all night. We've got wheelchair appointment tomorrow. Yeah, yeah, I forgot. I've got to get to Jeremy's wheelchair fitting appointment tomorrow.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so all right. I'm gonna shut up, guys. I'm gonna let Kalina take you guys into a journey for the next few minutes. And when she's done, or when I'm done neutralizing, I'll be back and we'll jump in.
All right, guys. So I wanted to share something with you because I am so fiercely interested in the topic of channeling. Have been for years. So I had this book for years and I had not read it. It's called Channeling, What It Is and How to Do It. And it's by Lita de Alberti. And I hope I said that right. So the other day I was walking out of the room and I have all these books on channeling. Just again, I love studying about different channelers. This is something that was written in, let me see, it was first published in 2000, but it has copyright 1998. So this is like you know, what we call old school channelers. This person was channeling for a long time. And so I was walking past our, where our books are, and I felt a pull. And I turned around to spot that this book was calling to me. And I think part of it is because, Rob especially has been teaching these how to channel classes. It's always good to get other perspectives of how other teachers teach and how they help guide you to that. So I thought it would be nice. I actually thought about this the other day to read some to you, but I also wanted to send out some love because when I was reading this, I was thinking, oh, this is so amazing. I'm going to get in touch with her. I went on Facebook to find her, only to find that she had passed 2 years prior. But I'm really grateful that she left this wonderful book. I was sad to see that she didn't have any connection to anybody that I know of in our circle. So she's just really been around. Maybe some of you have heard of her. But I definitely think that, and I noticed that this is still available from weiserbooks.com, WEISER books.com. And they have their website still. I think her husband's name is Marty or Martin. I might be not remembering it correctly, but they had a school called the School of the Living Light. And incidentally, it looks like her husband, I'm assuming it's her husband, 6 months ago started putting her meditations on YouTube. So definitely check that out, because guys, what the pioneers of channeling, I know channeling has been going on for thousands of years. Humans have been able to do it. But this is like this generation of people, like for instance, Daryl Anka and Jane Roberts, they really brought in this wave of channelers that are coming in now, because I believe most people that want to channel, they will be able to, if not all of us, because we're always channeling. We have to connect to, our inner wisdom, our guides, and it comes out in different ways. So I thought I'd read a little bit on this, if you guys would like to hear, because I think it's just really good. And so when Rob is ready, he'll come back. So I'm just going to kind of start from the top. So I won't read the whole thing, just a disclaimer for anybody who's worried about copyright stuff. And I'm going to dedicate this to her and her husband. 2 years, not a long time. All right. So all about channeling and guides. And a quote from one of her guides, Orton: "I'm dwelling in a form which you would appear perhaps as simply a shimmer, a movement within the air." What is channeling? Channeling is the means by which you can make a direct connection with a non-physical or discarnate being called a guide. It is a process of consciously connecting with entities who exist on other planes of reality, and those who do so are known as channels. Throughout the history of humanity, people have channeled various types of entities. I prefer to distinguish channeling from the work of mediums. Mediums work with dead people, entities that have been in existence as human beings and have now passed on. The focus for mediums is to prove the existence of life after death, but the focus for channels is less narrow. The work of mediums is, however, extremely valuable, as it is important to realize that there is an existence after death, and their work is complementary to that of channels. Channeling involves deliberately shifting your awareness to achieve an expanded state of consciousness. You have to learn to concentrate and to get your own thoughts out of the way so that you can become receptive to your higher guidance. The ancient Egyptians, for example, channeled the god energy, while in ancient Greece, the Delphic oracle was frequently consulted. Even in the Bible, Old Testament prophets channeled energies which they identified as, quote, God. Madame Blavatsky, the founder of Theosophy, channeled a series of masters and as a result wrote Isis Unveiled, a classic book about ancient religions and their revival. Alice Bailey, inspired by her Tibetan master, set up the arcane school. Probably one of the best known recent channels is Edgar Cayce, who would sink into a state of hypnosis in which he would provide astonishingly accurate readings for his clients. Jane Roberts and her guide Seth brought through huge amounts of information in their books. While finally, Sanaya Roman is a gifted channel who has helped thousands on their path of growth and personal development. Some people hear clear words from their guides, others see pictures which they describe, and still others just get a sense of what the guide is trying to convey. As you do more and more channeling, the guides help to develop this gift of connecting. Guides exist outside of space and time, and as a result, they are able to be with you at any time you wish. They do not have physical bodies, although they may well once have done on either this or another planet. However, such guides were frequently teachers even when they were physical, and since their passing over, they have continued to develop spiritually. A gateway into love. The higher realms where the guides exist are full of love. Your guide's aim is to make you more powerful, more independent, and more confident. Your guide is full of love, compassion, and understanding for you. Your guide knows that you have a higher purpose, which represents the real heart of your reason for choosing to be born at this time and in these circumstances. I believe that before birth, each of us is encoded by our soul with a mission, our higher purpose for this lifetime. We consciously choose this with our soul's guidance. A clearer viewpoint. When you channel, it's like climbing to the top of a mountain. You will discover more about yourself and others and see your life from a higher, broader perspective, which helps you to discover the deeper meaning of situations in which you find yourself. A means of self-help. As a channel, you can learn to do things effortlessly if you choose, but you will still struggle if you choose that. This does not mean that everything will come to you and that you can just relax and do nothing. What does it mean? What it does mean is that you can gain a greater sense of what you want to create and will be able to find easier ways to bring it about. Channeling won't solve all your problems. It will only change you in the ways you want to change. You are the one who takes action and you are still responsible for your own life. But working with a high-level guide does accelerate your growth opportunities and your learning curve. Channeling a guide will help you to see yourself and others with greater compassion and objectivity and less judgment. The purpose of channeling. When you decide to open to channeling your guide, what you're doing is bringing the guide's energy down to the physical plane which you inhabit. Guides have no physical form, but you do. You are the receiver of their energy, and you are the transformer of their energy. You transform their energy impulses into words that can be understood by other people, or you may transform the energy into music or painting, or you may choose to channel healing frequencies for the assistance of others. Spiritual work is about bringing the frequencies of spiritual realms into our everyday reality, grounding those frequencies so that they can be perceived by other people. Channeling is just a form of that, grounding in the energy of your guide and the things that your guide wants to share with you and through you with other people. In short, when you learn to channel, you are creating many opportunities for personal growth and development, as well as for service to humanity. Channeling will obviously result in different changes for different people, but typically people who channel become more self-confident, happier, clearer about their path and their choices, less selfish, less stressed over life's problems, calmer, more loving, and psychologically much stronger. One of my students told me that she and her guide have developed a marvelous way of bringing healing for her physical body. She channels this energy into her body, and within minutes, she can begin to shake off health problems such as colds and viruses. How can you tell if you're ready to channel? Good channels are those who enjoy thinking for themselves. They are often on a path of service to others, such as healing. They are also independent, open-minded, self-confident, sensitive, and in touch with their feelings. They are people who enjoy learning and who are open to new skills, ideas, and knowledge. The qualities that guides seem to value are dedication, enthusiasm, and the willingness to be a channel. You need to have a willingness to make your life work at every level and to attract a high level guide. It helps if you have spiritual interests, a desire to help others, and a concern for their well being. Channeling always seems to help others in some way. A common fear amongst people who want to channel is that they will be the one who can't do it. They are very concerned that they aren't ready, they aren't worthy, and so on. So, how do you know that you're ready to channel? Everyone who completes the channeling courses we teach does actually channel during the class. And this is common in our workshops too. People tap in. Um, oops, I lost my place. Sorry, guys. Got it. Everyone who completes the channeling courses we teach does actually channel during the class. They may not be destined to be verbal channels, but they all make a good, strong connection with their guides so that after the class, they can develop the relationship to support them. I firmly believe that people are only drawn to the courses we teach when they are ready to use the material. Ultimately, only you can know if you are ready to channel. But even when you are ready, you may still feel very anxious about whether you really can do it. This anxiety is really just a reflection of the excitement that you're feeling deep down at the possibility that you can be a genuine channel. Fear is merely one end of a continuum, and excitement the other. You ready yet, or you need more time? Okay, sure. It actually gets. I'm glad because we're getting toward. How are you guys doing so far? Just checking in. It has a little time lapse. I'm going to continue though, but I will peek over, make sure you guys are good. I'm going to turn the mic toward my voice. So, other fears about channeling at the School of Living Light, and just so you guys know, they don't teach, I don't think, anymore because she's since passed. But the world we're in kind of just really reflects this energy, the work, the hard work that she and Jane Roberts and Daryl Anka and Esther Hicks, like, whew, they really opened up the doors for us. So it's out there. So at the School of Living Light, we have taught many people to channel, and there are some fears that come up frequently. One is that channeling will turn you into a space cadet, out of touch with reality. In fact, it seems to have the opposite effect. People often report that they feel more grounded, centered, and better able to deal effectively with their daily lives. Your guide can be of great assistance at a day-to-day level. Another fear is that you will be taken over, as I mentioned earlier, but channeling does not entail a surrender of control. One respondent in our recent research with channels said of her guide, Light Angel, is always close, but does not intrude in my life unless I ask for help and assistance. Light Angel does not make decisions for me, but helps me look at things in an even and fair way. You are likely to find that your sense of self is greatly enhanced, as if contact with the other creates a greater awareness of your own identity. You may find that it becomes easier to set limits and to define your personal boundaries. Yet another fear is that you will become vulnerable to lower entities. Actually, you can recognize these lower entities by their negativity. Once you have a good connection with a high-level guide, this guide will protect you whether or not you are channeling. What are guides? I've already mentioned guides in various contexts, but a clear explanation will be helpful at this stage. In brief, guides are beings who have chosen to work with us at this time to enable us to access high-level information to assist in our growth. Guides connect with us at a high level called the soul level. The information they bring in is transmitted into our physical brain as pulses of energy. Encouragement rather than control. High-level guides encourage you to rely on your inner guidance, even over their own guidance. They never try to take over or to control you. In fact, the situation is quite the opposite. Guides encourage you to grow and support you in what you choose to do. Orton always reminds me that it is a law of the universe that you have to ask. What he means by this is you have to choose to ask for help in whatever it is that you're doing. By the way, that's kind of a law with a type 1 entity. for those of you guys who know what that is. Guides have far too much respect for us to intervene without being asked. They see that we must learn the lessons that our soul chose for us in this lifetime. If we want to do this alone, so be it. But you don't have to do it alone ever again when you have chosen to channel your guide. All you need to do is ask for help. The guides will do all they can from their side to offer the highest lessons and the highest experiences you can have. So, connecting with your guide. Often, guides begin to connect with you in your dreams. A very common experience is waking in the night and not knowing why. Orton explains that the veils between the realms are very thin at night, especially between 3 and 4 in the morning. So this is a time when people have vivid dreams of guides or are awoken by their guide trying to contact them. You may find that you're becoming interested in channeling, going for readings, attending talks on channeling, meeting channels, or reading books on the subject. You may be very interested in your spiritual path and keen to know more about your work and higher purpose in this lifetime. You may feel you're looking for something but are unsure of what it will be, or you may feel ready to have a more open connection to the higher realms. If you do ask for a guide to assist you, one will begin to work with you. And I can tell you right now, most of us have more guides in this day and age. Wouldn't you say, Rob?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In your meditations, ask for a guide to begin working with you. Sometimes during meditation, you get guidance that seems to be of a higher wisdom than your own. As your connection with your guide strengthens and deepens, you may think more about channeling a guide. And although you may have doubts and questions about channeling, you will feel that you want to know more.
All right, we'll call it there.
Yeah, and that's again, it's called Channeling: What It Is and How to Do It by Lita de Alberti, Lita.
It's up on the screen.
Oh, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sweet.
Sally asked if we could put the name of her up there, and then
thank you so much for posting that. I do hope that at least some of you guys have heard of her. Just she's amazing. You know, while I have some slightly different ideas and some of the things she's in the book, most of it I totally
most of it resonates.
Most of it resonates, and that's going to be for any channeling. You know, some of you will listen to stuff Ardif and Treb's saying. It's normal not to 1,000% resonate with everything, but
yeah, I listen to other channeling now, and I resonate with usually at most about 85 to 90% of channelers I really resonate with, and the rest can be sometimes only 20% of what they say, and some channelers not any part of what they're channeling resonates with me. So
this is a great, like, especially starting with the, I mean, I was like, wow, how
this is one
this
that's
not
85. Everything Queen has read to me, it's that high resonance level.
It's like, so how on earth is this not like a bestseller? Is beyond me.
Well, you can tell that she actually had a good connection with her channeled entities, because the flow of information is so spot on in my perspective.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're ready. We're about ready to go. Thank you guys for everything. April, we appreciate it. So I love it, and thank you, Kalina, so much. It's perfect.
I love you guys. Thank you, April.
Guys,
love you
for everything. So we're gonna get into the 2022 channeling here in just 1 minute, guys. Before we jump in, I want to say again, thank you to all the Patreon people sharing this, allowing this to be shared in the public. And the rest of you guys, I appreciate you for being here. We look forward to the 21st, where we can do this, except we're taking personal questions. And if you want to know more about that, we're gonna paste the links on the start page as well as in the pinned comments.
I'm gonna get more coffee. So I'm awake both ways.
She'll be awakened doubly.
Oh, careful, Jimmy. Sorry, I just got stabbed in the foot by cat claws.
Oh,
I'm staying up because I want to surprise Lily and get the tree up finally. So,
well, thank you guys too for all of your stuff too. Go ahead, sweetheart. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's okay. I was just scratching at my foot because I actually cut myself in the bathroom and now got stabbed by cat claws here.
Poor feet are getting doubled down on.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So enjoy the channeling. We're going to bring Ardif in here in just a second. I'm going to take a drink of water, and then we're going to jump in. Here you go, some water for you too, Mama.
Oh, I got some over here.
Perfect.
Thank
and
you.
I got some over, lots of some over here. Then perfect.
While you're let me actually point the microphone back over to you. I am going to go take care of my foot. I'll be right back.
Go ahead, Mama. All right, guys. Enjoy. Ardif will share some things here, and we'll go from there. All right. Enjoy, guys. 2022. What's it about? What's happening? What are the energies doing? Let's find out. Love you guys. See you on the other side. Greetings, all. This is Ardif. That is ARIDIF, and this is its spell. We understand that all desire to understand and know more about your upcoming time, linear perspective of the year that would call 20 and 22, respectively. But before diving into those queries, there are three things that we wish to express. The first two, what we have expressed throughout our co-creation with you at this time of your Earth Collective. The first thing that we wish to express, that above all things expressed in this day, to know, feel, and to perceive that you are loved in our perspective is of the utmost importance. Secondly, it is our greatest excitement, and within that same great excitement in which we co-create with you, not only collective format of all of you collectively, but all of you individually, which leads us to our third perspective. And greetings to Colleen as well.
Greetings, dear Arda. Thank you for being here with us tonight.
course.
And we love you as well, and you are loved.
Yes, of course, it is truly our greatest excitement. And not only are all of you loved, but we love you as well. Now, we dive first into your construct of 20 and 22. We have done this with all of you several years into your past progressive timeline, linearly going backwards. And we have worked either through Treble Yetney and myself, or the combination of both of us have stretched over each year, the respective years, as it were, the time of that moment from the moment of projecting that initial co-creational conversation to the next year of your linear time progressed throughout your local perspective time. Although this gives us a great deal of insight to be able to work with you to show you the probability and possibility of overall arching themes for the co-created collective consciousness of Earth in that moment. They are only as good as that moment is, and with this moment, as in all moments of your last 1.5 years of your collective linear time, energy of your now moment shifts violently from moment to moment in some circumstances, so drastically shifting that some humans are not aware of the day after waking up and perceiving their now world as the same world or timeline from that day before, in their own introspective nature, in their own self-observed reality, or in their own respective personality comparisons for the construct and contrast of what is now and what was then. So, we can take you into the forms of this in the construct generically. More so in this year, what we wish to share are the upcoming themes for the co-creator collective consciousness energy cycles, and what examples those can bring forward in certain circumstances and desires of the human co-creator collective consciousness. As all of you are highly aware, it will only work from the perspective of yourself through creatorship. It will only work from the level of collective that is tied into that excitement, building that one archetype of energy for collective consciousness in any given co-created source from that time forward. And if all consciousnesses come together in order to interact and bring that excitement without the hesitation of consciousness that would project a certain outcome or an expectational energy within that altered or perceived outcome, then of course you can have clarity in your manifestations. Therefore, it is easier for our own consciousness to show you forward the pathways in which energy moves instead of how we believe it will move when it moves so drastically in these days. First of all, we introduce you to the construct of our previous engagement in your year 20 and 20, starting from the year of your 20 and 19. And we shared the energetic cycle and perspective of what was to come in the next year energetically. And 64% of what we have shared was reasonable in the co-created collective format of energy in that moment. But as an all shifting, you sped your cycle forward 1 year quicker than what we perceived was possible. And of course, humans always working at their greatest to be the most of human that they can be, often push through their cycles in a much quicker manner than other races, yet in certain aspects of personal or collective growth may lag behind other collectives with similar constructs. Yet all of you are accelerating the consciousness in this moment to a great amount of energy and allow comparability from that moment to the next. So we start off with your yearly cycles of the year in the construct of 20 and 22. As you know and as we have shared at the precipice, at that energy which is the solstice consciousness of your 20 and 21, it relays the very end of your accelerated third density enhanced formed focused galactic consciousness and raises the vibration of overall consciousness to that of your beginning and threshold version fourth density implemented consciousness. And why, of course, would this occur? Well, you are permanently within the fourth density vibrational range from this point forward. As all of you are aware, you have been within that shared energy of space in your 20 and 12, all the way to this here, as you perceive it, as what we would call the third to fourth density exchange. And what this means is that all of you are in fourth density focused. All of you are focused consciousnesses living fourth density vibrational level. Yet most of you still experience majoritively third density vibration and done so for the reason that your consciousness allows you to shape and shift that energy. What will happen now that your third density vibrational enhanced frequency is gone? For the most of you, this means that those shifts that have been uncomfortable will continue, but the way that you will work with that energy will be dependent upon yourself. Some of you are frightened for what could occur next in your experience, as all of your experience has shifted so greatly, and it feels as if it would be an indicator of something to be fearful of, something that, if repeated, would continue going through these cycles of drastic shift and of movement so quick it is hard to keep your head straight through the entirety of that building energy. Yet all of you are going through it and finding balance in those moments in between. Now, if you look at a pendulum that swings backwards and forwards, there always that split second moment where that energy that is converted through the momentum itself becomes at a zero gravitational point. It holds the energy vibration between swinging out and swinging in. That 0 point moment is only a fraction of a second, but it is stability. It is the counterbalance from the swing out to your swing in, and that vibration is what all of you feel you have lacked, just as the pendulum lacks the ability to hold the state of 0 point energy for miraculous levels of time. And that time feels to be stretched out greatly in moments where you feel peace, serenity, and at ease, yet you have not had that vibration. What we are sharing with you, in your fourth density vibration, if you can feel that 0 point swing as it starts coming back to the other direction, if you can learn what that vibration feels, emotionally attaching yourself to that energy and blueprinting the consciousness of that moment, then of course the memorization of that moment becomes key and becomes the integral part of you rebuilding that same vibration. And once you rebuild that vibration in yourself, knowing what the emotional to mental mixture should be, knowing the perfect blueprint and recipe to rebuild that construct in your experience, you can master yourself at 0 point energy. Most of you cannot do this for long periods of time. Most of you will understand the moment, frozen in that 1 second, freezing your own conscious time ability, stretching your now moment to great degree in order just to feel it 1 second longer, so that you can remember all that you can about it. And once that moment occurs, the rebuilding process will feel painful. It will feel increasingly egregious to rebuild each time that you desire to feel it, or to gather another piece of it when you feel it come back again in the opposite direction. Yet it is essential for all of you to pay attention to that moment when it comes, if you desire to know that moment. It is truly the knowing of that energy through repetition, through wild swings forward and wild swings backward, sensation of being, that moment that allows you to continue to know more parts of it, to continue to construct the energy. Just as those who build buildings as architects in your planet, they cannot draw your house out in one day. They must understand the nature of how the foundation is built. They must understand the nature of the beams that are placed upon each wall in configuration for the electric and the plumbing. They must understand the weight-bearing load of the wall. They must understand the material and the weights and the density of those energies before they are able to move forward. Yet they know that energy intuitively. They feel to learn the vibration of what will work and what won't. And of course, they are utilizing their other skills in life. All of you have those other skills, although they are different from person to person. All of you hold alternative life skills. As an architect knows mathematics and geometry, human may know emotional wellness. They may understand mindfulness in nature. They may understand the art of meditation or astral projection. They may understand that hard knocks of life create great building pathways for the experience of their own. Yet that same experience will destroy another human, not being able to deal with any more stress in their own experience. But even that human who holds no bearing for the weight load of stress to be in their own life has other strengths. Perhaps they are able to escape themselves easily when stress becomes great. Perhaps they are able to start actively working with others and helping them so as to see their own problems channeled forward into a direct manner in front of them by projecting their own constructs of difficulty onto another and then watching them in real time help that person alleviate their own. And these constructs will come together differently for all of you, but all of you will have the one theme in common. Only those of you who are successful at finding the 0 point moment will be those who simultaneously understand the great gifts within yourself. And although it is not the same gift, it is the same understanding that allows you to integrate your strength into the moments of hardship that come in all periods of life. Most beings who step forward into the Earth Collective will tell you that at the moment of fourth density, all things will be perfect. This is incorrect. We have said this to the human collective for as long as we have co-created with you, that the moment of human exhaustion leads them to hope that all things will never be adverse again. Yet in the moment of overcoming adversity, your greatest strength shines. Your greatest heart opens. Your greatest strength and momentum to the next great moment is prevailed. And that energy is a part of the building mechanism, but it does not only need to be that builds human consciousness. You have less of this each time that you overcome that adversity as a collective form, so that personally, each of you can learn it and project yourselves forward to the next great gift, to the next great form of expansion. And what occurs in your fourth density that did not occur in your third density as frequently is that literally the standard in which you create is 100% pendant of the direct relationship that you have with yourself in that moment. In third density, each time that another human came into your co-creation, part of their own energy was rubbed off onto you. Part of it could be absorbed by the heart and mind. And of course, this can occur in fourth density too. But the allowance of another to move your vibration is something that will not occur in fourth density once you learn to structure the energy inside of you as you desire to see it. Meaning that if you are perfectly in harmony with yourself in fourth density, whereas even when you could be in alignment with yourself if another negative being that was a human with great baggage upon their selves emotionally and mentally came into your co-creation, it would bring down some of your own excitement. This energy has to be worked upon, but once you practice that 0-point energy mechanism and work on the swing back and forth, you'll find yourself able to build that excitement, build the lack of resistance in yourself by yourself, from the degree in which you can grow either independently or with a collective, even if that collective is widely against yourself. We have always asked you, in your co-creations with others, to perceive yourself in the manner you desired for the outcome to be. And of course, this is still applicable in that way. If 10 humans go into one room and co-create and 9 humans desire one outcome, that one human will either fall prey to the 9 humans that desire other outcomes to their desired outcome, or they will have to leave that group into their own creation. Now, you can have both the group of 9 and the one with desired outcomes coming out into that manifestation to greater sense. This is the differential in fourth density consciousness to third. The third density consciousness, 9 humans in that room are thinking only about their selves, their family, or the group in which they desire to benefit. Yet in fourth density, where love and heart chakra energies open, then you are often apt to feel for what another being is going through. Even not directly at the start of your fourth density, it becomes more apparent to all of you. How many of you have looked upon your neighbor and found great love or great distrust or disharmony in the last 2 of your years? And how many of you now can look at that same neighbor in a different perspective? We have always listened closely and intently as humans speak in the construct of their own consciousness, and we understand when they are speaking to one another. There are no times that go by where both Rob and Clean are speaking and we are not listening. And what we have heard from this day, directly before entry, through Rob's consciousness and speaking with all of you in our own perspective, is what we have been sharing. The construct that allows all humans to respect one another and to respect themselves, to be powerful enough within them to create what they desire as well. Where in your third density world there was not room for the individual. There was either a collective form of energy or the individual. Now there can be the individual in the collective consciousness. We have talked to humans a great deal about the ego portion of consciousness. We have shared with you that it is not your enemy in that way. One moment, we'll hydrate and continue. We have shared that the ego portion of your consciousness is not your enemy. That the ego portion of your consciousness manifests as a part of your animalistic portion of consciousness, second density vibration, raising out of the elemental to have instinct. And that instinct is a great part of keeping the physical body safe. It is also a part that does not require registration of a higher formed mind, and one that can perceive linear time that is dedicated to your third density experience and not your second. Humans going from a second density vibration, being fast tracked into your third density, thousands of years before the vibration of natural evolution were to occur, it sped that development of your ego up forward as well. Most entities who step into their third density vibration from the egoic portion of consciousness are able to take that form of their consciousness and are able to perceive that energy in compatibility with keeping their own emotions safe. But it is also designed to keep themselves active in an environment of co-creations with other consciousnesses, knowing that by being an individual in a moment of early third density development can be just as detrimental to their own physical safety as that in social grouped animals from second density. And the human construct is able to take that energy in a healthy form of third density and take the egoic portion as the indicator of emotional protection primarily at first, and grow it into a place that understands its own self in a form of community. As we have shared, even unhealthy third density egoic portions of consciousness, as they grow to fourth density, also start implementing the separation of what was, the animalistic emotional protection that is occurring, and becomes a singular identity to a part of consciousness that is in a collective form of consciousness. In our own planetary consciousness, all of us are connected. At this moment, I expand my awareness and am aware of thousands of the entities upon my planet at once. Some that love one another deeply and connecting, heart to heart, in deep embrace. Some that are off planet speaking to other races as we are to you in this moment. Others who are simply enjoying the music of nature. And I am able to feel all of that energy, the emotion, the thought process. Yet I am still able to be my individual consciousness. I am able to decide my own excitement is to be here with all of you in this moment. And I am an individual within that form of collective consciousness, one that is allowed to co-create at my own desired co-creation because my ego transmuted the unhealthy layers of division and started bringing that connection. And this is all the fourth density conscious integration portion of energy for all beings that exist, not simply human. Every reptilian race that ever goes from third to fourth density also goes through the transmutation of heart into the place where either their heart connects to themselves or to small groups or connects to a greater collective through years of evolution into their fourth density consciousness. But instantaneously, at the moment of fourth density, the vibration of egoic energy shifts. In human collective consciousness, each time a great portion of their own consciousness shifts. For one moment, the mental body starts throwing fits to you. The emotional body starts fighting back. That this is not normal. We require normal to be back. Yet this is what normal can be for all of you, and what it will be for those of you who embrace yourselves as you enter fourth density consciousness. And the fourth density level of physicality has been around you long enough. If you come to peace with yourself, despite what you see around you, despite what is occurring around you, you can be at harmony with that version of yourself, then start being that tool to manifest for others the changes that all of you collectively desire to see. And of course, the systems that have placed human to fighting other humans will be addressed first in the co-created form of your energy. There will still be great disagreements, swaying back and forth of the perspective of great deals of humans or small groups of humans. And it will continue for the next several years as all of you face these themes that are within you. And when you face those themes within you, make sure that you are truly in alignment with your heart and mind, because your fight for that next iteration of humanhood will take manifestational foothold with the mental and emotional energy that all of you place into it. And collectively, if 51% of humans desire to have an outcome different than the 49, your world will not shift only in one direction, it will shift into both directions. Whereas in your third density, when 49% felt one way, they were out of luck. They were left with what was left for manifestational scrap table for them to have. The logistical energy of that shift is apparent to you now, has been for the last multiple years, and will be for the next many years. As the more that you shift internally, the more that you will see shift externally. Many of you are concerned of health, well-being. As you see, the conditions for this are starting to go in a direction where if all humans remain to stay calm and feel that good outcome coming, will stay and build into your manifestation where everyone can be healthy. Those of you who are worried about your personal liberty and freedom, now you can start seeing this come back to you more. We have never expressed that we do not believe that speaking loudly does not work. What we are saying, speaking loudly with anger and dysfunction in your heart does not help you manifest, to clear the injustices that you perceive. When you approach any form of injustice, knowing in your heart that you are correct, that is enough to help you build that energy in fourth density. That energy, knowing your own self and the freedoms that you hold for personal thought, personal expression, and personal experience, even if on limited scale in this moment, the more that you focus upon what you have, the more that you can start manifesting to have. The more that you focus upon that which you lack, the more of that lack you will create for yourself. And of course, for all those that co-create with you in that way. This is a moment where every human can have what they desire. If you continue building from the personal energy perspective outward and start utilizing that energy of focus upon what is good for you now, not the focus upon what is not good for you. That which is not good to you will naturally not resonate. And speaking of those things with pride, with an experience of energy, knowing that you are correct and resonant in your personal reality without judgments of others for their own personal reality, that is enough to start breaking open those parts of energy. Now we understand for those who desire for safety and those who desire for personal freedom, you are meeting at a door where you think none can be had together. But one answer that alleviates all the concerns of both sides is for the energy of illnesses to go away and reformulate laws and structures to protect those who are sick, who are vulnerable in that way, and to create the ability for those who desire to open their freedoms to have it in their own designated locations, in their own arenas of work, or opening certain portions of the economy within their own construct of experience and co-creation. Having humans working with one another to come up with better ideas, instead of ones that are most resistant against one another. The energy of co-creating from the level that humans have co-created with in that last 2 years, of course, is enhancing the growth ability for humans, but also coming with very dangerous iterations within the co-creation of one another. One can express that how I am able to create something positive is to destroy something for you. Yet, when you are destroying the aspects of another's personal freedom or their feelings of safety, then what occurs? You are destroying that part of yourself internally as well. When you fear that energy of those that want freedom can cause havoc and destroy, and you try to destroy their own ability to have that freedom that would endanger you from your perspective, then of course you are only suppressing the parts of your own self that also desire freedom. All of you coming into the collaboration of co-creating from the mutual understanding that the majority of humans who have open hearts truly desire to be happy and truly desire to co-create with one another. Start putting that in your intention with those who agree with you and with those who disagree with you, working together to create an open intention for harmony to be restored externally so that internal harmonious energy can be focused upon individually and then spread out collectively is truly the manifestational energy that all of you are working towards in this moment, and it can be expressed. Starting now, if you desire, you do not have to wait for the 21st to come. But at the 21st on forward, the more that is added, the more strong the manifestation of that energy can be for the equilibrium and balance between the energies and the perspectives within. We will take your queries at your leisure.
Thank you so much, Arda.
Yes,
That's
of course.
amazing. So it sounds like 2022 is a year of working with finding the 0 point. Is this correct?
Yes, of course. It is the theme and the mechanism in which you can find peace if you work towards achieving that energy.
And I'm going through my notes. So one thing I wanted to, in terms of the state of the 0 point, as you said, you are always watching and listening through our experiences, Rob and myself. Could you give an example, just a real world human example? You can use anything of mine. I assume Rob wouldn't mind either. I know you have to check in with Trev on that when he's kicking it with him, but in the astral realm, for those of you guys wondering what I mean by that. Could you give an example? And of course it's going to vary, but just so that examples are really helpful to humans.
Yes, of course. The 0 point energy represents where all things are sound, quiet, and working quite well for you in that moment. But knowing that previous to that 1 week before all things were cold, that things were in flux greatly, undergoing out of your favor.
Does that mean everything is perfect around you, or that you are in that state of being regardless of what's going on around you?
Yes, of course. The calmness despite the energies that previous and afterwards perceived to be in balance, and that energy going out is one way. That 0 point is where you feel it has gotten as bad as it can, but for now it is okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then you start feeling it grow in greatness and in betterment, and you perpetually swing forward. And then you are going as good as you can for that moment, and start feeling all things are falling into place. And out of nowhere, you feel that 0 point energy leaving as one construct, comes into your life as a smack in the face and resets all of the energies that are in front of you. And you start again towards decreasing the experiences that you desire. And then you feel as if you are at the worst you can get. But you make peace with that energy and you stay, and things start getting better. Those points where you are either at surrender with what has gone wrong and acknowledgement that you have learned lessons and things could be better, but you are letting it be and truly not engaging. That is 0 point left. And 0 point right is where all the things have gone greatly for you. And you know that things from that point forward can or will continue to grow forward. These are 0 point energy right. And they are both the opposite ends of that pendulum that swings in human life from adversity. Learning through adversity is the greatest teacher. It does not have to be the greatest teacher. It is mostly the greatest teacher because all of you agree that it should be the greatest teacher. But until that changes, that pendulum teaches you the great lessons of fourth density, the energies that when you are starting to go towards the 0 point energy left, to hold on to all of those great energies that you understand do in fact work for you. Because there's no way in fourth density for the pendulum to swing towards the left energy unless what you believe is working for you is truly working for you. It is only when what you believe is working for you does not work for you that it in fact can swing towards the left. So it is the instant recognition and understanding that apparently there are things in your experience that you were fooling yourself into believing were perfect and okay when they were not.
Yes.
And this is not a failure for you to manifest. It is not a failure in the exercise of building energies towards greatness. It is simply the weight of the energy in perpetual co-creativeness. You cannot get more if there are things that are not rooted in the favor of yourself and in your true reality, not your projected version of often twisted reality. And we do not mean to express that all humans are twisted. What we mean to express is that the way you project yourself into the universe can have twist within them. You see yourself, I am doing well. All of the relationships that I have had over the years that have been toxic have come to an end. And yet, those that are toxic still may be in your life experience. And without ejecting those humans from your experience in that way, you are only welcoming the pendulum to show you where you were truly being uninsightful at the least, or reckless with your creations at the most. And that energy will always have to swing back to your left. It is not a punishment from the universe. It is that you have built your own house upon cards instead of foundational, and that which is weak will collapse and show you what is not working for you.
Wow, that's amazing. And I find when I am in my 0 point, that's when I find more of the true focus within myself. I find my true excitements and passions and the motivation, the desire to create within myself and what I also want to put out in the world. I would assume that this is a pretty typical thing that one would experience when they're in that 0 point, because it's like calm waters. When you're in the middle, you go from the turbulent ocean, whether it's like the fun surf wave or a storm coming upon, a ship, versus you got calm water. You're able to reflect and really see. Does that make sense?
Yes, of course.
Can you expand upon that state of focus that comes from the 0 point?
Yes, of course. It is the moment of stillness as you've expressed. It is also that moment of perpetual energy slowed for 1 second. We call it at a 0 point energy because progression is paused in that slight moment. You feel that you are growing in that way, and then it changes. But for that moment, you have clarity on where you are and what is working, and what you feel could have greater work, and then it will go towards what the great work should be upon. Then you feel as if you are going towards negative experiences, more so and more so, as all of those old are broken underneath you. And then at that 0 point moment, the expression of clarity gives you, I understand now what does not work. Many humans say that this is a humbling of the human ego. And of course, we are not resonant with that construct, as it implies there would be some part of every human that believes they should have better things. And we agree that all humans deserve better things if they believe they deserve that better thing, if they desire to have that better thing. But you cannot know what can be better unless you face that which is not the best.
And real quickly, since you mentioned the word ego multiple times, everyone has their ideas of what ego means. A lot of us have been taught different variations of what ego is. Could you describe what in your mind the ego or even human ego is?
Yes, of course, it is a part of your lower fractal consciousness energy that separates the unconscious and subconscious from the conscious mind. That division is splitting your emotional body nearly in half and tries to take care of the lower emotional energies that are within the human body and human psyche. That energy that relates to sexuality, to safety, to the version of your sense of self and inside of the heart and center of love, and must protect all of those parts of the energy. While that and the higher heart and all of the chakras northward of this energy, of course, are related to expanding and expansiveness. Now, in that way, it is fair for some humans in their perspective to express in our own perspective that if the ego tries to make you small, it has to create a feeling of smallness for you. Otherwise, it cannot do what it is desired to do.
Safety, right?
Yes, of course, safety, but regulation of that safety, regulation of the energy that is embedded within what safety means in a physical reality of duality where danger and disconnection do in fact occur. Many humans believe as they enter their spiritual journey that the construct of emotions that are dedicated to feeling unsafe are unjustified and only cause low vibration. But when you are out into a New York City in a neighborhood that is extremely dangerous, can the construct of positive thought alone in the mind keep your body safe? It can for some of you. Most of your beliefs are not that strong. Most of you will fear when you see gang members with guns around you. Most of you may fear as you see another human being being beaten up or raped in front of you. And that part of your belief will break momentarily, but break, and then you'll be in danger. We are not saying that you will always be in danger regardless of what you feel or believe. No, what we are saying is you live on a planet in where safety does and does not occur. And with duality inside of you, there's duality outside of you. And even with your beliefs as content as can be, expresses that you will only be safe if you think positive. You cannot create that expression through co-creation. Now that you are in the fourth density, you have a greater possibility and probability of doing so, as the individual dictates more of the individual experience in order to place them in alignment with connecting with others. But again, reevaluation of the systems of your internal processes are extremely important in order for you to understand where you should place your belief systems or how you should work with them in that way.
Interesting. It's that pendulum too, going back and forth.
Of course.
So I am curious to know, we're used to living in the dualistic world, black, white, light, dark, right, wrong, good, bad, that kind of thing, evil, good, that kind of whole thing. And it seems to me that as we're progressing more and more into this new fifth dimensional realm, or fourth density, as you put it, it's that these lines are really getting blurred. And you see that as an example just everywhere now. I was wondering if you could talk about how the dualistic world relates to the 0 point and what it means in the new reality that we're in.
Yes, of course, the dualistic nature is the opposite sides of both pendulums.
Mm-hmm.
It is the place right before and right after the 0 point energy. The dualism is both the attractive nature of the swing of that pendulum, but also the force that allows it to hold at the 0 point. It is not simply the energy that keeps you going back and forth as much as it is the energy that allows the system to create that experience of growth upon both ends of that spectrum.
Mm.
Although adversity is a great teacher, so is positivity.
Mm-hmm.
So is openness, learning, mastery, expression of love, experience. That is unequal sides of that energy pendulum. Of course, that which is positive makes you feel better. But sometimes humans feel so good that they will blind themselves to the parts of them that have not done the work that is required for them, not by some far out entity in the universe that requires them to must work upon themselves. No, it is in fact the internal portion of yourself that knows you desire the most in your experience as a spiritual being, living in a physical body in a dualistic planet of energy. And that consciousness that is embedded internally for your true desire to grow knows that one way in either direction and holding that direction permanently is not going to be as useful for you as allowing the natural swing of that pendulum to occur. We will take 2 more queries before this evening.
Sure. I'm going to go over my notes just to make sure I can kind of tap into what the collective moon want. I know, let's see, so many I could go into. Well, I'm going to fuse 2 together as one because they're related, and then I'll pick the second one.
Yes, of course.
So you had mentioned in the beginning that humans had a quicker acceleration by 1 year than you had initially assumed or seen. So I was wondering if you could elaborate what you meant by that, and also elaborate on the uncomfortable shifts, like for 2022, that you see, the types of uncomfortable, drastic, you said drastic, fast, and quick shifts.
Yes, of course.
Because I feel like these 2 are related.
Yes,
what
of
you're going to
course.
say.
First of all, in your year 2019, this is the time where your energy of the virus started towards the end of the year that implemented the overall global version of interactivity with all of the things that have motivated growth and experience of all of you. Yet in the timeline, even weeks before that 2019 year started, we did not perceive that coming until the end of your year 2020. And even weeks before 2020 started, we would not have perceived that energy being as strong as what it was. So humans, utilizing their own desire to manifest, seeing that even this great and large deal was not working with enough humans to shift the internal, personal, private, and individual consciousnesses. And of course, not the collective consciousness, energy, in large enough quantities. It had to accelerate further and quicker. And the energy that is dictated towards that construct is what you are seeing going on now. You see enough humans shifting their actions, shifting their mindsets, shifting their behaviors, where you will not see as drastic as swings needed in order to achieve the learning portions of the 0 point energy pendulum form. But in certain circumstances and in new systems to the Earth Collective, of course, it will start with a learning curve. Now you see the systems that have been given example by Rob and yourself in earlier this day, of course, you can utilize all of those as individual examples. At first, someone may not know of certain natural disasters or weather patterns increasing in regions of the world to an exponential number until that time is late and it grows to other more vastly connected and more populated regions of the world. Then other humans will start caring. And then, because it took them a great deal to come into contact with that experience themselves, then of course, it will be a larger swing of emotion as time that they once had to focus and hone in on that experience of environment versus self then becomes problematic and must be accelerated quickly in order to catch up to where that energy is in the collective form. You saw this with all of the things within your own system, the governmental systems in your own country of United States, as two sides went and fought with one another drastically, dragging one another into the mud and working with ethical behavior that was less than appealing to all of you, even though the human perspective still held to one side or the other. It took until more recently, when more humans saw that both sides were playing their part of fault for co-creating the hardships for humans. These types of examples are iterations, but on larger scales in your 20 and 22. Now we know, simply by saying this, it sparks fear in a great deal of you. But we understand that the nature of those experiences that you are holding are the personal fears that are within yourself, or the resistances that can or cannot come. Yes, the Earth Collective will shift greatly in the next 4 to 5 years. Some of you are older and holding physically older bodies. These changes will feel more jarring for you than it will to a being who has only existed on Earth for 15 and 30 years. But these are not abnormal to the growth of your Earth Collective. Remind yourself where all of you were at your childhood and see how drastically the Earth has changed in 40, 50, or 60 years. Knowing that that has occurred in that time, then what is another 10 years going to look like for all of you? That alone is a scary thought for many of you, but much of it is natural and needed progression. Humans are afraid of technology integrated to their physical body as artificial intelligence, microchipping, etc. Yet under the right conditions and creations, these can be positive changes for human beings, for the health of human beings, for the longevity of physical bodies, for human beings who hold damaged organs or bad health. But if it is implemented through means of selfishness, if it is implemented through means of greed and not a desire to help, then of course it will manifest into worse ways until the pendulum swings back. The important process, all things that are new to you, if you do not allow that initial shock of anger or fear to come into your heart and try to objectively perceive all of the things in front of you, will find most of the energies of that which upset you would not have upset you if you would have held to the vibration of neutrality for one moment. Or if you would have held to being open to the possibilities of both positive or good outcomes, and the nature of bad or negative outcomes.
That's amazing.
Yes, of course.
Thank you, Art. And before I want to make some comments before I ask the next question, but I glanced over at the chat room and I don't know how, but somebody got blocked. I just wanted to let you know who you are. It must have just happened. We didn't block you. It must be a YouTube thing. So Hopefully that won't be permanent. I was trying to figure out what's going on, but strange things afoot. How about that pendulum, right? So, so I wanted to go over a couple things before I get into the next bit.
Yes, of course. As this will be our last query for this day.
Absolutely. So I just wanted to point out, like, while you were saying focus on what is good for you, not what is not good for you, I was writing the words, imagine if we all do this and go within what we can create together. So that going in within that, as you call the 0 point, but also just really going within to develop ourselves, finding out who we are and developing ourselves spiritually. I was imagining if we create from our own individual selves, following that passion, we're giving to the world. I was just imagining, what would we create together? It would be really, truly amazing and incredible, I feel.
Yes,
And
of course.
I do feel from a lot of you that health is a big topic. There is a health meditation from the book I'll read in the end, unless Ardif wants to expand on that later. But I really feel like this kind of answers the health, focusing on what's good for you, not what's not good for you. That's including on every level, from food to good thoughts to just loving yourself, because your immune system, guys, you don't have to be a doctor to know that when you're stressing yourself out, you're going to stress out your immune system, and it's not going to be good for you. So it's very important for that. And then I would imagine, as much as you can get into that 0 point state, which a lot of people attain through various types of meditation, by the way, or even just, some people do it through exercising, singing. There's ways to help them get there, that'll help you in terms of the health. So I do feel a lot of people pushing at that. But I think what I'm going to read is really, really important. Okay. I got to find all these. So earlier, Art, if you were talking about like when people are angry and they're focusing on the injustice, and it's not helpful. But I think you meant like dwelling in that place rather than, because to me, anger, whether it's considered like for an injustice issue or just something, can also be a catalyst for positive change. And then related to that, because there's a lot of anger between people, and people are yelling at each other, and they're screaming so hard that they're not able to really listen or hear each other. So, and this is a quick note. So basically, I thought to myself, regarding anger and any other kind of what you would perceive to be negative emotions, how would you have a heart-to-heart conversation with others who have different opinions to help collaborate and understanding, support, and co-creation together, even through different beliefs?
Yes, of course. The first layer of that energy is that anger, of course, can be positive nature for the growth experience, to amplify and to be a conduit for the energy of growth and expansion, both personally and collectively, of course. Engaging with others in those conversations that you understand the other perspective angers you, and the opposite experience angers others. It would be to go as conversations that averagely go well. Human collective always start. I wish to listen to your perspective of what this is, why this certain aspect angers you. And then I would like for you to listen to my own perspective. And of course, when hearing that perspective, truly try to perceive that perspective from the other human's vantage. If not, then you are pretending to listen in order to tell your side of the story. And this does not benefit either of you. The energy that truly allows growth is the recognition that even the energies that are outside of your perspective still hold validity, even if that validity feels extremely misaligned with your own. The anger and the portion of energy in that acceptance is often best used in this order. When you first hear something that is new, what we suggest is to hold the judgment for the moment, allow it to come in without any previous engagement upon the constructs of probability of if it is right or wrong, bad or good, evil, or purposeful and positive. That energy allows you to take in that energy in that neutral or 0-point energy state. But if it is something that so drastically misaligns with yourself, anger is an appropriate response. I do not care to have this into my reality at all, but we wish to fix the root of this problem. Not simply, I am going to be mad and tell you about my anger. This does not offer solutions. The solution orientation of humans is one that is greatest ability for most beings that are third or fourth instincts change. If they are in balance and working with one another. When they are out of balance, letting anger or greed or resentment work as the standpoint perspective, humans are one of the greatest in failures for working to find the answers together or collectively. But when humans truly desire to come together for answers, it is always a better representation of that energy as well. We wish to express to all of you that it has been our great pleasure in co-creating with you, Kalina. Of course, it is great excitement to be here with you in this moment as well.
I'm incredibly excited too, Art. It's always such a pleasure to speak with you and Trev and learn from both of you. You guys have such beautiful amounts of love and wisdom, and we're really grateful to have that reflected to us. And we love you very much too.
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
Not only are you loved, but we love you as well. We wish to express to all of you that as you have thought the ideas of growth and expansion of what can or will come in your next year, we have perceived the parts of our own consciousness that work with you and the allowance of your energy towards the future constructs of co-creation. And when we perceive the parts of you that have never perceived what we have shared in that moment, it allows us to see the parts of our own selves that have yet to explore those areas of our own consciousness as well. We congratulate all of you for the growth that you are having and the growth that you have had. And we thank you for the growth that you have given us and the growth you continue to give to us as well. We bid you all adieu for this evening. And of course, you are loved.
You are loved, Art. If I do.
Adieu.
Trevor's energy too. Hi, sweetie.
Hey,
Welcome back to planet Earth.
here we go.
It went great. When you listen back to that, it's gonna be amazing. We got super deep.
Oh, I'm glad to hear.
Do you need to use the bathroom, ground, get water?
Yeah, I'm going to.
I can chit chat
It's
with everybody in
also,
the meantime.
Yeah, you go ahead, Mama, and talk to everybody for a few minutes. It is, though, it's already 1:20, so I gotta get Jeremy to his wheelchair thing in the morning too. So
Yeah,
we
well,
won't be able to hang out too long. But yeah.
how are you guys feeling? That was really amazing. I'm going back through. Marco, artist voice has changed. So, do you mind if I tell him what's going on with the voice, sweetie? Okay, so it's not so much the artist voice has changed. Rob actually has a lipoma lump on his throat, and he's going to need a surgery for it. But he's been to hell and back with finding like the right insurance. Like, just it's you guys know how that whole thing goes. They'll cover the right things. So we're just that trying to find the right one, trying to find the right doctors and everything. But I assure you, I'm pressing him on that one because he really does need that. And then he was told by one source, once he gets his surgery, he may have to have, I don't know if they said physical therapy or speech therapy. I don't know how much in, like, if it's even really on the vocal cord or what the deal is, but it's in a very kind of delicate area. But he's definitely going to need to have a second opinion and a really good surgeon. So if you guys want to send some love his way once he gets that, and if he needs to have any kind of therapy first, well, our art might sound a little different for a while, but believe me, I have been pestering the hell out of Rob to get that done. Regardless of the pesky situation with insurance, I was actually thinking of getting doing a fundraiser for him, and we would put on some events and raise money once we get, however much it's going to cost, because the area where it's at, it's probably going to cost more than the usual. I had a lipoma once. It was on my rib cage and it was very cheap. I was able to pay it out of pocket. This was years ago. So non-cancerous, nothing bad, just not in a good place. So that's what's going on with the voice. That's why it sounds scratchy. And yeah, that's what's going on. So hang tight with that. So I am looking through your notes. So I saw this earlier while Ardif was talking from This Is Demo. So they said, if we're all supposed to be God, but it hurts when I try for 30 minutes and can't create a little fluffy cloud in the sky, I don't really understand that yet. So I want to tell you something from me. When I was a little kid, I used to be able to do rain chants, and it would rain, and I would do these kind of, and I was a kid, like coming from a place of very low resistance. I would also sing, and it would make the wind blow. And it was really about getting in contact with the elementals, the elements in nature. And one day I was doing a rain chant, and it wasn't anything specific. I would just make stuff up and just really connect with the excitement, the idea of it raining. And it was really cool to just actually see it rain. And I got this vision in my head suddenly that there was this little kid, not too far out from my age at the time, in a park getting ready to have a birthday party. And it was going to ruin it for him if it was going to rain. He'd be pulled out of his birthday party and be taken home by his parents or something like that. And I felt bad. And then I kind of repressed that for many years because I didn't feel like I had, a right to really interfere with it. But then years later, Rob and I wanted to see, what was it, a meteor shower? What was it, 2-3 years ago? It was a while back.
Yeah, 4th of July.
Yeah, and it was in Michigan. Of course, it's like overcast all the time. And so we went out, and Rob's like, damn it, everything's overcast again. And I said, well, let me try something. So I was kind of being sheepish and shy. And I asked the elementals, and sure enough, it opened up, and we were able to see the meteors. And once we started to go, it closed back up. And it's something we can all do. You're absolutely right. We're all part of God. But if you feel like you're trying to conjure up like everything, like actually create and make a cloud, it's, I think, a lesser point of resistance to realize that there are actual, entities within these, and also realizing that we're ourselves multi-elemental beings. We're made up of mostly water, like our earth. We breathe, so we're an air elemental. We've got, electricity going through our brains, so we're fire. We're made of carbon. We're made of earth. We're just in the ether. We have the spiritual thoughts. So we're literally made of all of this. So that's how we're able to deeply connect with these elementals, because we ourselves are elemental beings. So really think about the connections of what makes up a cloud, scientifically, but also spiritually within yourself, and connect with these beings, these entities, this grander part of nature. And then also try not to have an expectation of how it'll be. And you might want to, maybe even work what's there. Maybe work with, asking the clouds if they'd be willing to disperse, and just kind of play with them. Come from a place of play, because I really believe that's how I was able to do that, because I was a kid and I was coming from a place of what if, and wouldn't this be fun if, rather than, oh my God, why can't I make it rain, or why can't I do this? So try that out. I think it'll be fun. They might surprise you with something totally unique. And then Star Citizen modding, so sweet. So we are God, but nobody understands what that actually is. Even God is impressed with existence. I think it's so beautifully and poetically said. And then Sprocky R says, God expands outward from within. It's not out there, it's within all of us. Totally agree with you on that. Sally says, we are God because we are made from the same source, God. We are a representation of that original source, and therefore we are always creating and experiencing infinity. And Sprock says, many go within to find God, but to truly connect with God is to expand outward from within. We are meant to express creation, not worship or glorify it. And April Christman says, co-creation. Chicken Hawk says, we are loved. And so it's just amazing, like what the Adam Twister says. I like that name, by the way, the Adam Twister. A great joy is to have been here and co-create with all of you. I agree. It's amazing. And you see, you guys, you realize you're channeling as Rob is channeling Ardif. Like this is what I mean. Like all of us here are channeling this beautiful high vibration of love. And I know that Rob, before we go out, because I do know that a lot of you are still thinking about health, I do want to go out reading this meditation on health. Unless you're driving, don't like lay down or, don't close your eyes, please.
Before Kalina reads that too, I just want to chime in real quick. When it comes to the metaphysical aspects of health, if that's something you're worried about.
Here, come here. So
if you're worried about the metaphysical aspects of health, our friend William released Seth channeling on health about pandemics, viruses, vaccines, all that stuff.
Mind-blowing.
It's very metaphysical. It tells you how the thoughts create all the things involved with it. So if you haven't listened to that, I think it was 3 videos ago on the YouTube before this one.
Very recent.
So check it out. It's titled The Nature and Personal Self. And we'll put the link in the description for that. Check that out.
And it's read by William Stoll, and he did such a beautiful, marvelous reading on it. And it's mind-blowing how
Castle Underground. Yeah.
How this was what probably channeled in the 70s?
70s or 80s, yeah.
Yeah, mm-hmm. And it's so right on for today. It's as if Seth really knew is here with us still.
Absolutely.
I do want to say one more thing about health too, and this is not to scare anybody, but I know some of you guys are, and though I'm a little weary to use the word contracts, I prefer the word agreements, but contracts is fine. It's a strong word. It's good. We've got soul agreements or soul contracts. There's a lot of changes going on. Okay. Some people are, yes, they may use COVID or certain other things that I'm not going to mention. That's, it doesn't really matter what the method is. Some people are going to pass because it's meant to be their time to pass, because as we are going through a rebirthing phase, some people are going to kind of transmutate while they're in their body, and it can be very uncomfortable. And others may need a break from this and they'll be back. I feel like my mom was one of them. She passed in May. She got a very rare heart issue. She passed away from amyloidosis, and it was rough, but she's a wonderful person. And I feel like a lot of these people that have passed, especially the ones that had other kind of diseases, they were, I, I really feel my mom's presence. She felt like she could help more from the other side. She's so powerful from the other side. Even at her own funeral, she was able to, you could tell it was her. And she was whisking around butterflies and dragonflies all around. It was so obviously not a normal pattern of behavior from insects. It was very clearly, and she's able to work with my technology. I see her name, Alice, all the time, everywhere. It's a well-known name, but not everybody's named Alice. So constantly, and getting in contact with my dad through dream states. It's just some people want to contribute from that side. This lady that I found, Lita de Alberti, is one of them. And she passed a couple of years ago. For most, probably, I would imagine most of us, even if we're having some illnesses, for me, I'm actually going to be getting tested for potential autoimmune disorders. For me, I know metaphysically speaking, that is representative of me beating up on myself and attacking myself. So my body is energetically going to do the same. And that's something I've been recovering from spiritually, mentally, emotionally. The other thing is, again, sometimes we just need to come in with certain conditions and learn from it. That whole pendulum and finding that 0 point. With that said, those of you that are safely at home or somewhere where you're not going to crash into something or, operating hard machinery or something like that, you can go back to this if you're not. And feel free to listen, but try not to get into a trance. For those of you that want to go out on a meditation, feel free to clip this out later, and hopefully maybe her husband will have, I know she's done these readings and she's got a beautiful accent, just wonderful. So hopefully she'll put this up on the channel that I believe her husband put up. I'll try to contact him too. For now, you'll have to listen to my voice. So this is a meditation. It's called Smiling to Your Body. Spend a few minutes settling your physical body into a position of comfort. Keep the back very upright, but at the same time, relax all your muscles. Now let your breathing settle down to a comfortable rhythm and start to imagine yourself as a 5-year-old child. Now on the in-breath, see yourself as a 5-year-old child. And on the out-breath, smile with compassion to that 5-year-old child. Actually smile, because the energy of smiling can heal you emotionally and physically. Repeat the step 3 times. Aware of your body now. On the out breath, smile to your body, your whole body, smiling warmly to your whole body. Repeat 3 times. Now, as you breathe in, become aware of your skin. And as you breathe out, smile to your skin. Repeat 3 times. As you breathe in, become aware of your heart. As you breathe out, smile to your heart, and in your smile, feel the energy of gratitude. Give joyous thanks to your heart for all that it does for you every single day of your life. Repeat 3 times. As you breathe in, become aware of your lungs. As you breathe out, smile to your lungs, and in your smile, feel the energy of thanks. Joyous thanks for all that your lungs do for you every single day. Repeat 3 times. As you breathe in, become aware of your liver. As you breathe out, smile to your liver, and in your smile, feel the energy of thanks. Joyous thanks for all that your liver does for you every single day. Repeat 3 times. As you breathe in, become aware of your stomach. As you breathe out, smile to your stomach, and in your smile, feel the energy of thanks. Joyous thanks for all that your stomach does for you every single day. Repeat 3 times. As you breathe in, become aware of all your internal organs. You don't have to name them all. As you breathe out, smile to all your internal organs. And in your smile, feel the energy of thanks, joyous thanks for all that your internal organs do for you every single day. Repeat 3 times. As you breathe in, become aware of your whole physical body. As you breathe out, smile to your body, and in your smile, feel the energy of thanks, joyous thanks for all that your body does for you every single day. Repeat 3 times. Now imagine that your whole body is drinking in this energy of your genuine smile. And as it does, imagine that your smile and your gratitude are nourishing your body, allowing your body to become more and more relaxed and filled with healing light. On the in breath, imagine that light is filling your body. And on the out breath, smile to your body and enjoy. Repeat for as long as you wish. So the first time I read this meditation was the other day. And I actually broke into tears about the smiling at the 5-year-old self. It just really released something in me. And then giving that gratitude and thanks for everything that our bodies do. Even if there are times of like creaky, achy bones, or, we get a cold or whatever it may be, even if it's like dealing with an autoimmune disorder or cancer, remember that most of the body is still functioning in this beautiful way and doing its very best to keep here and alive until your soul is ready to move on to the next experience. And hopefully you can take comfort in knowing that life never ends. It's just the form that we experience will change. So giving gratitude, especially the part about the heart that's beating for so long, one of the earliest times after conception, that the heart just goes on beating, that our lungs go on breathing. And so one of the beauties that happens when we get sick is to realize how extraordinary it is and what our bodies do, what our cells do. I mean, it's really incredible. And you have to think, what source is it that would love us so much that it would create all these little beings that make up our body to sustain us just for this one experience in this lifetime? All these tiny beings, including all the bacteria within us, more of them supporting us. And then we've got all these guides, these beings, these angelics. Sometimes it's easy for us to focus on, negative entity attachments and this and that and the other. But there's so much more for us than against us. And I believe this meditation is a pertinent example of that, and realizing that, acknowledging the love that's there for us, and realizing that even if you have, say, some negative entity attached to you, it's trying to absorb energy because it's in its own state of lack. And by letting that go, it can learn how to self-sustain itself. And I believe that's what we're also doing now. We've been feeding from a system as much as it's been feeding from us, the external system in our world. So now we can learn to connect inward more deeply and drink in the love that's always been there for us. So I think 2022 is going to help to hone in on that. We can hone in on that. We can choose to focus in on the negative, or we can choose to focus in on the positive within ourselves. And it's no judgment. There's a lot to learn from negative stuff. You can turn that into a positive. You can have amazing insights. I think in some weird way, these last couple of years have been the most insightful, and we can create a lot of beauty out of it, guys. That's why the lotus is used so much in the spiritual culture. The whole concept of it growing from the mud, or the phoenix rising from the ashes. There's a reason for this. The butterfly that creates a cocoon, and inside it becomes this goop, and then it becomes a butterfly. It's amazing. Would you like to add something, sweetheart? Yeah. I just want to tell you guys I love you so much. I think it's going to be an exciting year.
Thank you guys for being a part of tonight. Thank you guys for showing up, for being here. Love you guys a bunch. Make sure you get your questions in. Go back to the video titled Open Forum summer solstice or winter solstice. Jeez. And we'll see you guys on the 21st. And those of you on Patreon, we'll see you guys on the 21st. And we'll see you on the 30th,
Yes.
the night before New Year's Eve, guys.
Did you do this?
Yeah.
The-
Yeah.
This
It was
one,
another
okay.
bot. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right. Love you guys very much. We'll see you guys soon. Thanks for coming again, guys. We'll see you. Sorry to jump off. It's just really late here. We got to get up really early, and I'm grounded. I just got to get something to eat.
I'm gonna help him out with that. Get you
Yeah.
grounded.
I
And
appreciate it. Love you guys.
we
so
love
much.
you guys so much. We'll see you in a few nights from now. Really.
Yeah, we'll see you in
So-
just a couple nights, 5 days from now.
Yep,
Love
yep.
you guys.
Love you guys.
And see you guys soon. Thanks again.
Good night.
Love you, night.